While we are talking about sugar and flour and cakes and batter and eggs, we have Cravia in the studio with us this morning. They make cinnamon buns and a load of other stuff besides. The Cinnabon chain, Zata Bazate, the Seattle Coffee Company, all come under the Cravia label. And we have Walid Haj, who is the CEO of Cravia, in with us this morning to talk about their expansion plans. Walid, thanks very much for joining us this morning.
Thank you for having me. Good morning.
Plans for 57 restaurants in Saudi Arabia, 29 million dirhams. Why is this UAE company looking at Saudi as its next market?
Well, we've had a great run at Za'atar Uzayt in the UAE. We know the brand very well. We understand what it takes to make money in this brand. We know how to operate it. We know how to hire for it. And we know the Saudi market. So we've originally a Saudi group, so we have our operations there. We've been in that market for over 45 years. So it sounds like, or it looks like, a natural expansion. And it's a huge market as well, so it's quite attractive from an investment perspective.
In some ways, it's perhaps a surprise that it didn't start in Saudi.
That's absolutely true. It just so happened that the opportunity for the UAE came first, and we basically jumped at it, and we're now looking at going back.
Every time I drive past Za'atar Uzayt at 4 o'clock in the morning when I come back from somewhere on a trip, and I drive past and it's absolutely heaving with people, I always wondered to myself, what does Za'atar Uzayt mean?
Well, Za'atar Uzayt means oil and thyme, basically, literally.
Oil and
thyme.
Like thyme, the herb.
The herb
yeah.
thyme, yes. And you're right, Malcolm. I mean, 20% of our business in that store on Sheikh Zayed Road actually happens between 2 a.m. and 4 a.m.
20% of the whole business.
20% of the whole business. So we're a great after club hours destination.
So what's the time frame for this big push, dozens of restaurants into Saudi Arabia?
Well, we've signed an agreement just about a month ago for 57 outlets in Saudi Arabia. We just signed the lease for the first location in Riyadh in Tahliya Street, which is the place to be for sure. It's going to be the biggest location of Za'atar Uzayt, 400 square meters, and we are pushing hard. We're finishing the designs as we speak. We should start construction in I would say in about a month, and we should open by the end of the summer.
Given your Saudi heritage, why have you had to go in as a joint venture?
Well, the joint venture and the partnership with Rajhi Group, which is really a prominent name in Saudi Arabia, is not necessarily because we don't know the market, but it's more for adding value, diluting our risks. Each partner brings in something to the table, so it really works well. 1 + 1 is usually greater than 2 in these kind of things.
From what you were saying about the sort of, between 2 and 4 in the morning, 20% of your business you get, it's a sort of sociable place, Za'atar Uzayt. How will that work in Saudi Arabia when you've got to have a separate men's section and a family section, or a men's and women's sections?
That's great. I mean, that's a good question. The stores in the UAE, most of them are actually 24 hours, open 24 hours. So the after club hours is a big thing. In Saudi, obviously, it's going to be different. Most of the stores will close by maybe 1 after midnight. The dynamics are different. You have separate, like you mentioned, you have separate sections for men and women. But we believe that the volumes during the day, just the consistent volumes per hour during the day, is going to be higher.
Is there anything else that's different about the market? Any other adaptations you're going to have to make?
Well, generally the market is the consumers are the same. You just have to address. We're currently looking at pricing and making sure that we tackle that matter quite well. The biggest difference I can think about is that the country is dispersed. I mean, if you look at Riyadh, for example, Riyadh is housed for about 6 to 7 million people. And it's a country on its own. So we have to build many more stores to be able to get to where we want in terms of the scale and the volume.
What about here in the UAE? Do you have any expansion plans for us?
Yeah, we look at expansion in the UAE and coming from 2 sources. The first one is organic source, if you will, and that is our existing brands and how we can grow them both on per store basis, the same store growing, and also building stores. But more importantly, what we're looking at is adding brands into our portfolio here. We are now working on a burger concept, which I think hopefully will materialize sometime early next year. getting into that industry. And there are a couple of things that are still in the pipeline to be discussed, but definitely the intention is to increase the number of brands that we have.
Talk about your burger concept. Is that going to be head-on with McDonald's and Burger King, or is it going to be a local flavoured burger?
It's not going to go head-to-head with the QSRs, McDonald's and Burger Kings and those. It's actually in a separate category called Better Burger Concept, and this is basically a more expensive burger, but a much more premium burger, better beef, better bun, better ingredient, better even stores. So we are going to be actually competing with, you know, the likes
Fat Boy Gourmet Burger.
Yeah, Fat Burger, GBK, Gourmet Burger Kitchen, and the like.
What about the other sort of brands that you have? Cinnabon on Seattle's Best Coffee. There's plenty of bun and donut shops around and plenty of coffee shops around. Is it harder to expand those brands?
Well, each brand has a different kind of a life cycle, and when you look at development, you have to actually consider where you are in the business life cycle, and what kind of development fits that stage. As far as Cinnabon and Seattle Best Coffee, I mean, we've been in the market for 10 years now. It's definitely more mature. However, the way that we're looking at expansion now is, instead of going to large stores, mall locations, flagships, we're actually throwing small kiosks and small outlets in business buildings, in colleges, sort of alternative venues, if you will. And that has worked very well for us. We've actually just opened a location in Grosvenor Business Tower in Dubai, TCOM, and that has been actually a surprise. It's been very
taking the coffee to the people rather than them coming to you.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
and also these small stores are extremely efficient in terms of rent, operation, and all that. So it's a very attractive investment.
Walid Haj is the CEO of Cravia. Thank you very much for joining us on the show this morning.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.